The perfect cup of tea. Level intermediate. Mrs. Eleanor Hartwell was famous in Little Wickham for making the best cup of tea in the village. Every Tuesday afternoon, she invited her neighbour, Mr. Geoffrey Pemberton, for tea and cake in her garden. Mr. Pemberton was not a pleasant man. He complained about everything. The weather, the government, the young people, and especially Mrs. Hartwell's garden fence, which he said was 2 inches too high according to the local council. Eleanor, he would say every Tuesday, stirring his tea loudly, that fence is still illegal. I've measured it again with my ruler, 2 inches too high. I'm going to report you to the council next week. Mrs. Hartwell always smiled politely. More cake, Geoffrey? She would ask. This had been going on for 3 years. Every Tuesday, the same conversation. Every Tuesday, the same threat about the fence. Mrs. Hartwell was getting very tired of it. One Tuesday morning, Mrs. Hartwell went to her local garden centre. She walked straight to the section with plants and flowers, but she didn't stop at the roses or the daisies. She went to a small, quiet corner where they kept the more unusual plants. Excuse me, she said to the young woman working there. Do you have any foxglove plants? Foxglove? The young woman looked surprised. Yes, we do. Be careful with them. They're beautiful flowers, but every part of the plant is poisonous, especially the leaves. Very dangerous if you eat them. Oh, I know, said Mrs. Hartwell, with a sweet smile. I just want them for my flower garden. They're so pretty. That afternoon, Mr. Pemberton arrived at exactly 3 o'clock as usual. He sat in his regular chair and immediately began complaining about the fence. Eleanor, I've been thinking about that fence all week. It's definitely illegal. I'm calling the council tomorrow morning. How terrible, said Mrs. Hartwell. Let me make you a nice cup of tea. I've got a new blend today. Very special. She went into her kitchen and put the kettle on. While the water was heating, she went out to her garden. The new foxglove plants looked beautiful with their tall purple flowers. She picked several of the large, soft leaves and brought them inside. Mrs. Hartwell made the tea very carefully. She put the usual tea leaves in Mr. Pemberton's cup, then added the foxglove leaves. For her own cup, she used only regular tea. Here you are, Geoffrey, she said, placing the cup in front of him. Try this new tea. I think you'll find it quite different from usual. Mr. Pemberton lifted the cup to his nose. Smells interesting, he said. What kind is it? Oh, it's a special herbal blend, said Mrs. Hartwell. Very good for relaxation. Mr. Pemberton took a large sip, then another. Actually, this is quite nice, he said, looking surprised. Usually I don't like herbal teas. I'm so glad you enjoy it, said Mrs. Hartwell. She sipped her own tea and watched him carefully. They sat in silence for a few minutes. Mr. Pemberton drank his tea and ate 2 pieces of cake. Mrs. Hartwell noticed he was looking a little pale. Are you feeling all right, Geoffrey? She asked with concern. Actually, I'm feeling a bit strange, he said, putting his hand to his chest. My heart feels funny, and I feel sick. Oh dear, said Mrs. Hartwell. Perhaps you should go home and rest. Mr. Pemberton tried to stand up, but he felt dizzy. I think I need to call a doctor, he said weakly. Don't worry, said Mrs. Hartwell calmly. "I'll call for an ambulance." She went inside and dialed 999. "Hello? I need an ambulance quickly. My neighbour is very ill. I think it might be his heart." The ambulance arrived 10 minutes later. The paramedics checked Mr. Pemberton and put him on a stretcher. "What happened?" asked one of the paramedics. "I don't know," said Mrs. Hartwell, looking very worried. "We were just having tea and suddenly he felt ill. He's been complaining about his chest pains for weeks. I told him to see a doctor." At the hospital, the doctors worked hard to save Mr. Pemberton, but it was too late. His heart had stopped, and they couldn't start it again. The next day, the police came to see Mrs. Hartwell. "We're sorry for your loss," said the police officer. "Mr. Pemberton's death seems to be from natural causes, heart attack. The doctor said he had a high blood pressure and other heart problems. These things happen suddenly sometimes." "Yes," said Mrs. Hartwell sadly. "Poor Geoffrey. He was always worried about his health." After the police left, Mrs. Hartwell went into her garden. She looked at the foxglove plants and smiled. Then she walked over to the fence between her garden and Mr. Pemberton's. She took out a measuring tape and carefully measured the height of the fence. Exactly the right height according to council rules. It had never been too high. Mrs. Hartwell had measured it many times over the past 3 years, but she'd never told Mr. Pemberton the truth. She had let him believe the fence was illegal because she knew it annoyed him. And she knew that getting angry and excited was very bad for someone with a weak heart. She went back into her house and made herself a perfect cup of tea. Earl Grey with a slice of lemon. She sat in her garden, enjoying the peace and quiet. For the first time in 3 years, nobody complained about her fence. The following Tuesday, Mrs. Hartwell invited her other neighbour, Mrs. Johnson, for tea. Mrs. Johnson was a lovely woman who always said nice things about the garden. "What beautiful flowers," said Mrs. Johnson, looking at the purple foxgloves. "I've never grown them myself. Are they difficult to look after?" "Oh, no," said Mrs. Hartwell with a gentle smile. "You just have to know how to use them properly."